tap into our self-awareness, we can truly understand what we're feeling, right? Why it's coming up.
You're watching the Spotlight Network, starring Hollywood's newsman, Logan Crawford.
They now believe a single member.
He works with TV and film legends. And now, Logan's shining the spotlight on the world's top emerging authors and creators.
International were abducted.
This is Spotlight with Logan Crawford, streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV.
I'm Logan Crawford, and right now we're talking about emotional healing, inherited trauma, and how to break the cycles that have held families captive for generations. We're talking about a groundbreaking book. It is called The Generational Algorithm, Rewriting the Emotional Code Passed Down Through Generations. We're talking with licensed marriage and family therapist Francisco Castillo about his amazing book that helps readers uncover the subconscious programming that shapes their choices, relationships, and even parenting. Using science, psychology, and life stories, he gives readers the tools to decode their emotional inheritance and transform family pain into generational healing. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. Frank, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Logan. I really appreciate it.
Great to have you on the show. This is such a fascinating book, such a fascinating topic. You compare emotional inheritance to programming. Talk to us a little bit about that concept in simple terms.
Yeah, so the generational algorithm, like you mentioned, is a it's a nonfiction foundation. So it looks at how emotional patterns, our belief systems, and our coping mechanisms are passed down through families like invisible software, right? Like an emotional code that we didn't write. So it was programmed early on in our childhood, right? And for most of us, we're probably still running that outdated software, if you will, right? Still to this day. So I use the metaphor of the algorithm because we're all familiar how it works, right? Generational patterns have been studied for a long time, way back when Bowen introduced the multi-generational process. Um, so I wanted to bring this information, make it more relevant so it makes sense, right? Because this is not new. So people have realized that it does make sense. So the way we're raised, the experiences we had, the traumas we've endured, all shape what we pay attention to, what we avoid, and how we essentially react in our relationships, right? So this book helps people decode, that emotional programming to recognize what they inherited, and decide if if they need an update, right? If it's still serving them today. So
Yeah, it's amazing. Those first 12 to 16 to 18 years of our life are
mhm,
so critical. They really form the way our brains think for the rest of our lives. We can grow up till we're 18, we can live till we're 60 and beyond, obviously, and
mhm.
never redo what was done to our brains as children. So how do we operate or update our operating system? How do we reboot that a little bit?
Yeah, for me, the key is self-awareness. Um, to me, self-awareness is it unlocks change and growth, right? So once we tap into our self-awareness, we can truly understand what we're feeling, right? Why it's coming up. Is it something that was essentially, embedded in my system, right? Like that software, right? The emotional code.
Mhm.
And once we understand that it's my past coming up, right? We can essentially manage those automatic responses a lot better. And that's what we really want to do is just essentially say like, okay, I've been doing this for so long that it's really not helpful. I need to do something different, right? So that's what I would want for the readers is to kind of understand, self-awareness more and how to utilize it on your day to day.
Yeah, yeah, because other people recognize the patterns.
Hmm.
So many people are programmed for failure. So many people focus on the negative, and so many people are running scripts that were, given to them by their families, and that really does become a cycle because one generation gives it to the next generation, and so on and so forth. You've got a companion book to this, which is fascinating as well.
Hmm.
It is called Miho, We Bend, Not Break. Tell us
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, so that's really about what happens when love and silence coexist for too long. So this is it's a novel. It follows three generations of men, a grandfather, a father, and a son, who all love deeply, but they just don't know how to express it. It's within the Hispanic family, but it reflects a universal experience, that most of us probably have seen, especially when dealing with masculinity, migration, identity, and in the emotional costs of endurance, right? So the story begins with the grandfather that gets that believes strength means showing pain,
Mhm.
right? And that becomes the legacy for the family. And he kind of essentially passes it down to his son, and the son starts to understand that this ain't right, and it might be some resentment there, and then he ends up having a son, who starts kind of questioning everything that's been happening, right? Not to give away too much of the
Yeah.
book, but at its core, Miho is about redefining strength. It's saying that strength isn't the absence of emotion.
Mhm.
um, it's the capacity to stay open and to face it. It's about learning to bend without losing yourself, and realizing that real courage is emotional honesty.
Yeah. And kind of breaking free from that macho attitude
Correct.
that a lot of men, a lot of families, a lot of cultures have.
Hmm.
So that is a fictional story that illustrates real issues.
Correct.
Your other book, of course, is nonfiction, which illustrates the problems of generational trauma and how to break free. Talk to us about your practice. What has surprised you most about inherited trauma that shows up in families as you've
Hmm.
spoken to patients who've come in your door for help?
Yeah, yeah. So therapy is the game changer, right? Because if you've been living in this environment and this setting for such a long time, right, it just becomes the norm. Right. And when it comes to therapy, we start to ask questions, and then they start to realize, like, wait a minute, this wasn't normal.
Mhm.
Right. And that's where we help them kind of tap into the self-awareness. Um, so once we get to that point, right, we can start to uh, move towards a healthier way of coping with situations, right? Because these emotional codes, right? These patterns that were passed down,
Mhm.
um, have really hindered relationships, right? And for me, my practice, it's all about connection, right? Because I want people to connect. I want people to be able to show appreciation for one another in their family homes, right? Because that's where it all starts. So that's how essentially it's helped me in my practice.
Yeah, I think that's a problem a lot of people have. The dysfunction, the abuse
Hmm.
that is going on in their lives now is normal to them. That's how they grew up. Mom always
Hmm.
hit dad, dad always hit mom, dad always belittled mom, mom hit us as kids, and that's their normal. And because of that, they don't break free until they talk to somebody like yourself or
Hmm.
recognize themselves in the pages of your book that no, people who are normal don't hit each other. They are not unfaithful to each other. They don't
Hmm.
insult each other, right?
No, absolutely, absolutely. And the thing is here, Logan, too, is they know it's not the right thing to do,
Yeah.
right? But we're just so stuck in those embedded codes, right? Those
Yeah.
emotional codes that were passed down. It's just very hard to break from that, even if you're aware that it's happening, right?
Yeah.
Being able to stop it and change is just a difficult thing to do, and it takes a lot of patience, right? A lot of uncomfortable moments because you really have to sit in that uncomfortable space in
Mm.
order to break through. And some people just have a hard time staying in that space for that period, right?
Yeah.
And that's how therapy is very helpful. And I'm helping and we're helping, our clients just kind of stay in that uncomfortable space, right? And showing them the support that, hey, I'm here for you, right? We can get through this together, and show them what it really means to kind of connect with someone.
Yeah. You write that your healing changes the entire family. Tell us what you mean by that.
Yeah, it's the game changer. Yeah, it changes. I mean, that's how you break the cycle, right? Once you see somebody change, right? Seeing that it's healthier to do things differently and go against tradition, go against what you grew up in, right? People see a change in you, right? It's like, what is he, like, what is he on type of thing, right? It's really nothing much, right? It's just very intrinsically, powerful, right?
Mm.
Once you start changing from within, your behavior changes,
Yeah.
and people notice, right? And that's what the outside world really gravitates towards, and
Yeah.
families do too, right? And that's how you kind of change the legacy of families.
Exactly. Change your attitudes, change your
Hmm.
beliefs, change your thought patterns, change your actions, and you've changed your life. And it
Absolutely.
all begins, like you said, with self-awareness, realizing you're doing things wrong. You were taught that, you were shown that, but
Hmm.
that's not the way to do things. Talk to us about the role forgiveness plays in the healing process, and is it always necessary?
I believe so. Forgiveness is right because we can't control when we're wronged, right? Pain is you know put on us, right, without permission, right? And if we don't, if forgiveness is not shown, right, then we start holding on to those resentment, right? It just turns to very like it can be anger, sadness, which is more than likely probably warranted, right? But we don't want to carry that for the rest of our lives.
Mm.
And forgiveness just frees us from that, from those emotions, that we can move forward. It doesn't mean that once you forgive, it's okay to let these people back in your life, right?
Right.
Some, family especially, I mean, we can't just cut them off. It's just very difficult, right? But we can move forward in a different direction where we have boundaries, right? What we call like an emotional cutoff, where essentially I'm not going to let you dictate how I feel anymore, but you're still family. We can still talk and everything, but I'm not going to get connect with you in that way anymore, right? Because I don't feel safe.
Yeah. Exactly. You got to set your boundaries. You got to be
Hmm.
your own person, and you've got to, stand up for what you feel is right. And I think people are emotionally damaging themselves when they completely cut themselves off
Correct.
from a family member, unless the threat or harm still exists.
Hmm.
But for most cases, I think, reconciliation, forgiveness, not forgetting necessarily, but forgiving
Correct.
is important. Before I leave you today, somebody wants to start the journey of decoding, what would you say would be a good first step, an exercise perhaps, to get them to the point where until they get your book, they
Yeah.
can start feeling better?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a huge fan of self-talk, right? And when I say self-talk, I mean questioning things,
Hmm.
ask questions, right? And it all goes back to self-awareness, like I mentioned. So if uh, something comes up where you start to react, right? Question it, like, why did I react this way? Um, and why is this person make me feel this way, right? So to me, I want people to start questioning things, what they're feeling inside, and also compassionate. Be self-compassion. Show grace to yourself,
Hmm.
right? Because like I said, when it comes to like the generational algorithm and Miho, we bend not break. Um, that stuff was passed down to you,
Yeah.
right? And now you're feeling the, you know, the challenges, the barriers that are coming with that. So it's okay to, you know, have compassion, self-compassion, and grace, right?
Yeah. Exactly. The forgiveness that you extend to others,
Hmm.
extend to yourself. You know,
Absolutely.
don't be so hard on yourself. I'm always taken back to the beautiful poem, The Desiderata, beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. Because you are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars, you have a right to be here. I won't
I love
recite
that.
the whole poem, but it is a
I love
beautiful
that.
poem. And I think there
Yeah.
is something in every line of that poem for your
Hmm.
life. There's something in every line of this book that will help you as well, because everybody from one level or another, or one degree to another, suffers from generational dysfunction or generational trauma or generational pain. And this
Hmm.
book is such a helpful tool. It is called a generational algorithm. It's more than just a self-help book. It's a roadmap to emotional freedom and lasting family transformation. Frank, thank you so much for joining us here today.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Logan.
Pleasure's been all mine. I appreciate your insight, your wisdom, and the wonderful work on these books. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time.